Hi, this is the norming video for the 5th grade science constructed response for Common Assessment 1. My name is Monica Warren and I will be walking you through the constructed response questions and some of the answers you can anticipate. What you'll first want to do is open up the exemplar response, which looks like this when you first open it up. And you'll see the test key, which also includes a rubric for how to grade each of the parts to the question. What you'll notice is that, for example, question number 1 is worth 0, 1, or 2 points, and then it will have the teak that is aligned to that question. As you scroll through, you will see the rubric, which will provide an exemplar and how to grade based on that question. And then as you move down even further, you will see the test question and the exemplar that the CTL has created. For this first question, all of the questions have to do with the same topic, which is that a group of scholars want to test the effects of different colored lights on plant growth. So they're designing an experiment, and the scholar in your class must help answer some of the questions for that experiment. The very first question asks for scholars to write a hypothesis that they could use for the experiment. The CTL has done a really great job on the exemplar to really show some of the things that you may not think about or that may not be on the rubric. So for example, the hypothesis must be written as a statement. A hypothesis is not a question. So in order to get 2 points, it would look something like this, where they write a hypothesis as a statement that identifies the independent variable and the dependent variable. And in addition to that, it must be directional, so it actually says what the effect of the independent variable is. So for example, the red light will help the plant grow the tallest, or the blue light will grow the least. If they write a statement, a hypothesis, but it does not show directionality, for example, the color of light will affect the plant growth, that is not being specific as to what color of light will affect the plant growth the most. So scholars would only receive 1 point for that, and then they would get 0 points if it's written as a question, which would possibly be restating the question up at the top, or if it's just inappropriate or doesn't really make sense based on the information given at the top right here. So once you have graded question number 1, you can move on to question number 2. Question number 2 asks for scholars to list the materials that they may need. The materials do not need to be listed in complete sentences. They can number them, they can write bullet points. What is most important is that scholars give you a complete set of materials to get the full 2 points. So you can see the CTL's example right here. Some things to note that scholars may leave out that we've seen in the past from previous school years is that scholars must include some sort of control group. So red light, blue light, and then some kind of control. So for example, including a white light, or including sunlight as one of the controls. Another thing that we see that scholars often omit from this materials list is the water. In order to grow plants, they must start with water and add water at least once a week or twice a week, so they must put water in here somewhere. So if scholars give you a complete set of materials, this is worth 2 points. If they include some but not everything, so for example, let's suppose they write the list and they just completely leave out that they would need bean plant seeds, they would only receive 1 point because their materials list is incomplete. If there's if they only write something like they only need 3 different colored lights, or there's something that's very inappropriate for the question that they were given, like they don't identify anything that could relate to that experiment, that would receive 0 points. Once you've graded question 2, you can move on to question 3. Question number 3 asks scholars to describe how they would carry out the experiment. So what are the procedures for this experiment? So the CTL wrote an example of what this could look like. This is where you may see the most variation in your scholar responses. For example, the CTL wrote that they should water the plants once a week. Your scholar may have written that they need to water the plant twice a week or 3 times a week. Either way, right down here you'll see that the CTL has included the 3 things that must be included. So they must include a way to take measurements. They must include the controls, so keeping constant the type of soil, keeping constant the type of water, and then how the materials are used. So if they tell you that they are going to need bean seeds, they need to actually tell you in this response how they intend to use the bean seeds, for example. If the scholar leaves out one of the steps that they need, they would get 2 points, and if they leave out 2 or more, they would receive 1 point for this section. One of the most common things that we see on this question is that scholars will leave out that they need to measure the plant at the end of each week to determine which light is the most effective. So they'll set the experiment up perfectly, plant, light, let it go, but then they don't actually say, then you need to measure once a week or twice a week to see how the plants are growing. So that might be something to watch out for. Once you're done grading question number 3, you can move on to question number 4. Question number 4 asks scholars to draw a table that they could fill in during this experiment. So for this question, they do not need to fill in the data. If they do, it's okay, but they don't need to fill in the data. And this question's worth 3 points. So you'll notice that the CTL gives an example and then writes down here what they need to have as part of that table. So the 3 important things are a title, headings, and then the type of measurement in parentheses here. So those are the 3 most important things. The title must have the independent and the dependent variable listed. So color of light and plant growth show the independent variable and then the dependent variable. If they write something at the top like color of light, they wouldn't get credit for having an accurate table because the table must include both. The next thing is that they need headings for each of the parts. So, and it's okay if they invert this and have the plants at the top and the growth on the side, or if they show a different way, as long as they have these 2 things listed. And then the last thing is that they actually say plant 1 was red, so they give you the units in parentheses and then centimeters on the side. They don't give you the units, you can see right down here, for example, if they don't give you the units but they have a good title and they have the headings, they would get 2 points. And if they, for example, only have a title but don't fill in anything else, they would get the 1 point. If they get 0 points, it means that there's either no sketch or it's just maybe a completely inappropriate table or doesn't have to do with the question they were given at the beginning. So if you have any questions, maybe a scholar response that you're not sure how to grade, underneath where you see this norming video, there is a discussion board posted on Blackboard. You can go onto this discussion board and pose your question. For example, on question number 4 for science, my scholar wrote blank, blank, blank. How might I go about grading this best? And then the CTL or myself will be checking that and able to answer questions as they come up. Thank you.